Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we are continuing today's discussion around blockchain and crypto. We talked moments ago with investors about decentralized finance, payments, and banking and where the world of DeFi was heading. We also spoke a little bit about AMAs, or automatic market makers, along with NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Now we're going to shift a little bit in a different direction and talk about regulation and also adoption. What is necessary to make mass adoption happen, but also what is also happening around regulation in digital currencies as a whole. We talked earlier as well about decentralized finance, DeFi, TVL, total value locked, reaching almost 43 billion, nearing that all-time high of just over $45 billion put into protocols and networks. Bitcoin's market cap surpassed the aggregated market cap of the three world's largest banks. Now, as it regressed, we also are still seeing it above Visa and MasterCard's combined market cap, just over those being just over or just under 900 million, and Bitcoin's being just over a trillion as well. But what does this all mean? What does it mean for mass adoption? What does it mean for the everyday user to be educated, to get involved, and also to be protected as well? Well, we brought together some investors to share their thoughts and insights on this subject. And for you, audience, if it's your first time tuning in, the comments box is open. We'll do our best to ask any questions, but do say hi as well. And if we don't get to your questions, we'll be available afterwards to answer those and connect with you as well. And if you'd like to be on a show like today's here at VCTV, reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find that right spot for you. And speaking of team, a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making VCTV possible every single day. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and introduce today's investors. Adrian, welcome back to the show. A little intro and a little background for everybody, please.
Hello, Kyle, Fabio, and everybody. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm Adrian Niculescu, entrepreneur and investor. My genius areas are sales, marketing, and business development, and I like to do more than to manage other people. I'm involved in a few projects. CloudCoin Consortium. CloudCoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital, a Dubai-based incubator and accelerator for startups. Sarah Global Ventures, which is a London venture capital firm. And also I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups program in UK. Happy to be here in the VCTV family as usual.
Wonderful, Adrian. Always happy to have you. And Fabio, welcome to the show. A little intro, a little background for everybody as well.
Thanks. I'm an economist by training. I worked in international institutions such as the European Central Bank, the International Monetary Fund. Then I moved to the private sector, worked as an economist at Goldman Sachs. And then I moved to the Arabian Peninsula to work for various public institutions and sovereign wealth funds. My last stint there was as Chief Strategy Officer of the Oman Investment Fund for 8 years. Now I'm a partner of an investment bank based in New York, but with offices in Dubai and Hong Kong, called the Golden Eagle. And we, among other things, help innovative companies to raise funds, primarily on the over-the-counter market in New York, through various operations, equities, convertibles, or bonds. And I'm also involved in various projects in the crypto world, specifically in the area, also in the area of regulations, in particular for ratings of ICO and other offerings in the crypto area.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to be joined by both of you today here on VCTV because this is an important topic. You know, we speak about regulation and mass adoption in their respected ways a lot. Right, regulation, we've got in the United States the SEC getting more involved from various sides, good, bad, and ugly, as some would say. But nonetheless, regulation is starting to happen, and we're seeing that some enforced due to the amount of legitimate projects or businesses or services that are in products that are coming to market. We also have a greater number of individuals and institutions entering into the markets. We've got digital currencies from digital dollar to the digital euro to others, and central bank digital currencies that are starting to enter the market that individuals are using as well. So a lot is happening. But we'd love to hear from you what you both are seeing as investors, but also being in this space in terms of regulation. How are things changing? How are things progressing here in 2021 as opposed to years past? As again, adoption seems to be growing more and more month to month. So Fabio, let's start with you. What are you seeing in terms of the overall regulation and adoption market here in 2021?
But I see a slow progress, and sometimes you have the impression that some regulators make one step forward and 2 steps back. The financial world, the traditional financial world, the centralized financial world, as we may call it, sees with a degree of skepticism and suspicion what happens in the crypto sphere. In particular, because they have concerns about money laundering, tax evasion, illegal activities that could be made possible by the anonymity of transactions in Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, and in general on the in the area of transactions based on blockchain. Moreover, they are concerned that they could lose control of the money supply and the credit sector, which would be a problem for macroeconomic stability in their view. Now, all these concerns are reasonable to a certain extent. Beyond that extent, they are completely ludicrous, I would say, because the idea that transaction or that innovation must be contained because criminals or other dodgy characters could use it improperly is not acceptable. Otherwise, we should prohibit the use of cars, because bank robberies usually are done using cars. We should prohibit cell phones, because criminals often communicate via WhatsApp or via phone calls. So this obsession with criminal activity, in my view, is an excuse to maintain the status quo. Mm-hmm. This being said, the other argument, the other observation that we must clearly make is that the promise of cryptocurrency, the idea of cryptocurrency, was to establish a financial sector outside the realm of financial regulation, central bank rules, and so on and so forth. So the challenge is to design this set of rules for the cryptosphere outside the purview of the authorities, the central banks, and the regulators. Now, what is the problem? What is the challenge? The challenge is that these regulations, for example, the banking regulations, are not, based on whims or on concerns that can be dismissed. They have been established, and they have a long history, because the financial sector needs trust, needs somebody who makes sure that contracts are enforced, that money is not stolen, and so on and so forth. So when you deposit dollars or euro or pounds of a Swiss franc into a bank, you are sure that the banker will not steal the money, because there is an authority called central bank which supervises the banker's activity. In the crypto sphere, if you, for example, lend money from Indonesia to Canada, who is going to assure that the borrower will repay the debt and will not, flee stealing the money of the creditors? So that's the point that is crucial. And besides, we need also to make sure that the quality of the offering, the quality of the cryptocurrency, from the technical point of view, from the cybersecurity point of view, and from the economic point of view, make sense and are not scams or extremely risky ventures.
And with that, thank you, Fabio, pardon me. Adrian, anything to add, but in general, what are you seeing around regulation and adoption? We talked a little bit moments ago about this on the adoption side, but what are you seeing in general between regulation and adoption here in 2021?
I would like to address these things separately. So first about regulation. When we go to the established platform, KYC has become the norm, which is a very good thing. And as an entrepreneur, I think that the best way to use our intelligence is to push the humanity forward, to push the business forward. And both crypto, DeFi, and all these elements of the new ecosystem are expressions of some very smart people who said, okay, this can be done much better. And with every new generation coming, there are new ideas. And what we are seeing now is an expression of a collective effort to do the financing part in a much better way. And regarding the adoption, what I'm seeing, especially over the last few months, besides regular people entering like crazy because everybody heard about the returns on Bitcoin and things like that, I see the adoption from institutions, from institutional investors, from individuals and entities having most of the money actually, and by coming into this market, by investing into this market, by taking positions, not only that they bring this new industry at a new level in terms of figures, in terms of volumes, they are facilitating those financial systems, the old, the classical one, and the new one, to start working very well once beside the others. Once you have normal cards, Visa and MasterCard, attached to an exchange where you have a cryptocurrency in your wallet and you can spend immediately to buy bread in a supermarket, this is something amazing in terms of adoption. I was saying that we were in the mass awareness phase, starting the mass adoption, but we are now in the mass institutional adoption, which is more advanced. I believe this is my own point of view, is more advanced than the adoption um, by the regular people, the little guy. And the promise of this new ecosystem is that the power is slowly given back to the little guy, which is very important. But as said, I see a larger adoption from institutions which have the tools, have the means, have the professionals, and the power to influence even the government, because there are many institutional players who have more resources than entire countries, right? This is a huge deal.
And so what are some of the hurdles that we need to get over to allow for mass adoption? I mean, if regulators are going to start entering in a more aggressive fashion, which I think we are all in agreement that they are this year here in 2021, what else is necessary for mass adoption to really start taking off? I mean, some of what we see right now is still a very small bubble. So when it comes to digital currencies as a whole, what's necessary for mass adoption to really take place? Fabio, let's start with you.
The first task should be to have an anchor of value. As of now, Bitcoin in particular is very volatile. Therefore, people use it for transaction, use it as a store of value. But it cannot be used for cannot be used reliably for paying salaries or for taking up loans, because you don't know how much you are going to, how much will that salary or that loan be worth a month from now, let alone a year from now. So the stability of the value is a key. I'm not sure when this will be achieved. So when will the value of the main cryptocurrency will stabilize? The stable coin, which are linked to the fiat currencies, are not an appealing alternative, because it's just a basket of currencies. So I'm not sure what would be the advantage of holding something that is similar to the standard drawing rights of the IMF that exists since the mid-40s and have never taken up any significant role in the financial world. So the stability is one of the key elements. The second element is the safety of transaction and the speed of transaction. We shouldn't be downplaying the fact that often paying with cryptocurrency is very cumbersome, takes more time than with a credit card. So this is an issue, is a technical issue, but needs to be addressed. The last thing is the trust. I mean, at the end of the day, the financial sector relies on trust. You can have regulators injecting the degree of trust because they can enforce rules and punish the bad guy, or you have to have a self-regulating system. And in the crypto sphere, this has been so far an elusive task. We should concentrate on that. We should have, let's say, private institutions in the crypto sphere which take up the role of regulators, the analogous role of regulators in the traditional financial world, and this role will take up a long time to sink in and to be established. But if you don't start, you will never reach that point. So we need to painstakingly make an effort to design and enforce a sort of self-enforcing contracts in the transaction and in the dealing within the crypto sphere.
Agreed. Thank you, Fabio. Adrian, anything to add or anything that you see that it's necessary?
First, think about how long did you take until you used email for the first time? How long it took you to use the internet for the first time? Crypto and DeFi, this ecosystem has to enter more into our culture. It's like we are used now with television on demand, and maybe we don't miss the advertisements. So first, it has to be more ingrained in the culture. Next, I would say that the main blockage is the security itself, and I saw huge progresses in the way the most important exchanges, especially, are addressing that. They function like some new banks. They have staking, where you receive interest for your crypto, which is kept there for the ones who don't know what staking is, and is more interesting than the usual interest. Also, you have instant liquidity, so that problem which was mentioned regarding the fact that it was pretty hard in the past to use a card connected to a crypto account. Now it's very easy. It works very well. And it's like with electricity, you don't need to understand electricity in order to use it. And as Wi-Fi will be everywhere like air, I believe that the digital version of the financial ecosystem, along with the coins, which will survive because it is and will be a huge natural selection, because now every day, boom, 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 a new coin, a new token, a new platform. So will be a natural market selection, and this ecosystem, along with the coins which will survive, will become second nature for us. And this takes time. We need to allow it to happen, not to force it. It's like forcing a flower to grow. It will die. And we need to be persistent with these efforts to allow the proper timing for things to happen, which takes time, takes resources, takes effort, and persistence, not to give up.
Fabio, pardon me. Anything to add on that? It looked like you had a comment, so I wanted to make sure you had a chance.
No, yes, this is exactly the point. The selection. Let me focus on the selection aspect. There are two ways to achieve and bring to fruition this selection process. It can be the Darwinian, what I would call Darwinian process, where people, by try and error, by acquiring painstakingly information on each token and each ICO and each currency, will then select the best one and weed out the others. Darwinian evolution takes a long time. It's not an immediate process, and it's fraught with mistakes, bumps in the road, and so on and so forth. So in order to accelerate this process, you need an institution, let's say somebody, a group of people who can command the trust of the general public, which will give, assign a ratings, or if you wish, a grade to each and every issuance, or at least to the major issuance, and say, this is reliable according to my judgment, this is not reliable, this is a fraud, this has clear weaknesses that might or might not be addressed, and so on and so forth. So the role of independent third parties in this area will be crucial to speed up and optimize the selection process. And that's what I am personally working on.
Well, with that being said, what advice, I want to come to closing thoughts here, again, being sensitive of time. What advice do you have in your closing thoughts, Fabio, starting with you, for those looking to enter into this market, or looking to build into digital currencies, and then a quick shout out of where everyone can find you and your respected companies online?
You're talking about entrepreneurs,
yes,
not the general public. Yeah,
correct.
Well, first of all, you need to have an idea which is original, which serves a purpose, which fills a gap, which solves a problem. Because you make money when you solve somebody's problem better than somebody else. So I see a lot of people who come up with weird projects that have no fundamentals, they have no reasons, they have no hope of success. So try to be specific, try to think who can benefit from your project, then carry out from the technical point of view in a watertight blueprint, because nowadays that aspect cannot be downplayed. I mean, it can never be downplayed, but there is such an intense competition on that side that if you are an amateur, you will succumb. The third advice would be have enough financial means, because no matter how well designed is your business plan, no matter how conservative it is, you will enter inevitably an area of uncertainty, and you need to be well equipped. You will have to have broad shoulders, otherwise you will not survive the rough patch.
Thank you. And where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation?
Online, well, I'm on all social media, from Facebook to Twitter, from LinkedIn to Clubhouse as well. So if you just type my last name on Google or on any social, on any major social medium, you will find me and you can message me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Adrian, closing thoughts and where can everyone find you? Thank you, Fabio.
Thanks.
I think we may have lost Adrian. For those who may not be aware, Adrian is always online 24/7, 365, and he can be found on LinkedIn, which is his primary social media of choice if you'd like to reach out. And to our audience, definitely make sure you take the time to reach out to Adrian and Fabio, connect with them, provide context when you do, where you heard them, where you met them, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. Adrian and Fabio, thank you both very much for sharing your thoughts and insights. And to our audience for tuning in, thank you for all the great comments. Hello to all of you as well. We look forward to having you back here on VCTV tomorrow, tuning in as we have more investors from around the world joining us to talk about subjects like we did today around digital currencies, decentralized finance.
My closing thought for entrepreneurs is to focus on an industry first. And because in the startup world, the rate of failure is like 90% of startups are failing. I believe that.
We have lost Adrian, so thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. No stress, the joys of virtual events. But do tune in again tomorrow as we bring more investors from around the world to talk about subjects like we did today, digital currencies, decentralized finance, and others. And also a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode of VCTV possible. Check out the archive on latoken.com. And also, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me everywhere online at Kyle Ellicott, along with Fabio on all social media platforms as well. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll be back here tomorrow with more VCTV. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.